freedom fighters, coming back at you with another one. Well, I watched a video a while back from Integrative Preparedness. Not his recent one that he did once a few days ago when Iran attacked Israel, but it was a while back, and it was called, they're pushing for World War III, or do they want World War III, something like that. And there's been a lot of channels asking that same question recently, and someone posted a comment on my Civil War movie review that said, I think they're trying to kick things off in World War III, and that's what I've been saying for a while. I mean, we've discussed it before, but I figure I'd kind of clarify things and touch on it, and let you know why they want World War III. But yeah, I mean, the whole world is pretty much gearing up for this. You've seen Germany taking unprecedented action, going so far as to defy their constitution to not provide aid and weaponry to a country that's at war, because it goes against their, I think they call it the Peace Treaty Doctrine or something like that. And it essentially means because, they don't want to be a part of it. If you're helping a country that's at war, essentially you're a part of that war. And the enemy of the country you're providing aid to is going to take it that way, and then eventually you're going to become part of the war. Just like how, Ukraine would never have made it as far as they are without, our aid. And Russia knows this. So when Russia comes up against these, modern weaponry, and they're fighting, and Ukraine's holding them back, and they're killing Russian soldiers with, American or NATO weapons, they're like, okay, so Ukraine is essentially part of NATO, and America and the West, aka NATO, is a part of the war. And so it's basically World War III there. But, Europe is in a world of trouble. The whole West is. And, they know we the people are fed up with their bullshit. And we're coming for their heads. So, that's kind of what the comment on the Civil War video was saying. Was, I think I said something along the lines like they know we're in a civil war. And so they're trying to start World War III. And, there was another redacted episode, I talked about in my other video as well, my Tax Day episode. They've been doing a lot of good stuff there. But a while back, again, maybe months ago, maybe even a year ago, I can't remember. This was a long time ago. They showed a group of soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers. Well, they're not even really soldiers because they've already ran out of them. But, it's basically people that were just drafted, gathered up, and sent to the front lines, with minimal training. They don't have anything. Well, these guys were, sick and cold, and they're huddled around this little twig fire in an ammo can. And they're saying, we have no food, we have no water, we haven't got any, resupply drops or anything. And they're like, screw this, man. So I think they were saying they're going to defect, and they're like, we're fighting with the Russians now, and we're going to turn ourselves in. But he goes, look, the Russians aren't our enemy. We're coming for you. And you being Zelensky in this matter. I think they might have even named him. I can't remember if they said, we're fighting against Ukraine, or they straight up said, we're coming for Zelensky's head. They're like, we had enough of this shit. And that's essentially what Putin was saying in his Tucker interview, was that, it's an internal conflict. They're at civil war with each other, and the West is pretty much poking the fire and trying to start World War III out of the deal. And that's what all these countries are doing. I mean, Israel, I saw one of their leaders or something. I can't remember if it was the Department of State or Secretary, whatever it was. I can't even remember. But 60 Minutes did a documentary on Israel saying that, they're on the brink of a civil war. And I mean, take that for whatever you want. 60 Minutes isn't any, golden thing for information, but, all these propaganda things. But, CNN did one, Fox, even though they're all MSM propaganda pieces, when they're all saying the same thing, of course they put their own slants on it, but you're like, okay, so basically Israel is, at war with each other. They're having a civil war, and then boom, October 7th happens. And then they start their offensive on Palestine. Now you have the broader conflict with Iran and pretty much going through all out the Middle East. And they use these kind of events, these, false, what it is. Don't know if that word will trick the algorithm, so I'm just going to leave it there. But, yeah, they use these FFs to, quell the sentiment in the country and, direct it in another direction. You don't want to fight them anymore because you have a bigger, broader enemy. It's those guys you need to go fight. And the French look like they're about, on the brink of another revolution. And you remember the yellow vests? You had a bunch of people resigning and the Macron's government and stuff like that. I think there was like 100 generals that wrote a letter to Parliament or whatever kind of system they got going on there that said they're on the brink of a civil war. And, Macron did all these, draconian curfews and basically martial law crackdowns, said that he was like deploying cameras, and if you're found at these protests, I think it was like a year in jail or something like that. Then, there it goes. It's all gone. But, the sentiment is still there. They just don't do the protests because, their freedoms are all cracked down on. But, that's pretty much what they do. And they distract you with the boogeyman, the imaginary enemy, so they can send you off and die in their wars, and you're one less person they have to worry about coming for them. That's why they want World War III. You have Sweden or Switzerland, I forget what it is, doing the same thing. They've been having problems as well. I mean, all these places are everyone's having problems. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's fed up with the bullshit. Because all this globalism and, NWO bullshit is pushed on the populations, and people are done with it. In this country, again, I can't remember what it was. It was one of the S's, either Sweden or Switzerland. But again, anti-gun country. And now they said, oh yeah, we're mobilizing wartime efforts, and we're doing all this stuff and starting to train our citizens with guns. And you can have guns now. You see, they're anti-gun country at first, but when it comes time to fight and die for your leaders, all of a sudden then they want you to have weapons. Same thing when the Ukraine thing kicked off. No Second Amendment rights there, no freedom. And then it was like, hey, come on down to your local police station and pick up a full auto. Because we don't care anymore. As long as you go and fight the Russians, of course. Don't turn them on us. Same thing with Israel. No Second Amendment rights, no firearms in there. And then they let their people, sit on the wayside and get slaughtered. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you can now apply for your government-issued service rifle. And that same thing Sweden or Switzerland's doing now. And, Andrew Tate recently posted something, a tweet, and I forget exactly what it said, but I took a screenshot of it, and it was something along the lines of, like, they're pushing World War III or something. And, just like my comment in my Civil War video, I said, that's the reason why, because they know we're on a brink of a civil war, and the thing they fear most is us coming and pulling them out of their chambers by the hair on their head and, off with the head. And we're just like, we're done with it. So, yeah, that's what, my opinion on the whole subject. Let me know what you guys think. And that's where we're at. If you're asking where are we at, I believe the official where we are at are 2 minutes from midnight. That's what they say, how close we are, the closest ever to a pretty much inevitable World War III, unless, we the people put a stop to it. Again, if we just refuse and say, no, we're not going to participate in your globo-homo wars, and we're going to do our own thing, and if you have a problem with it, then the war will be with you, then we might be able to avoid it all. But, who knows how that's going to go. And, just on another side topic of news, Christopher Wray recently came in. The Uniparty strikes once again, and he said, he wants to renew the Patriot Act or whatever this new thing is, the FISA spying. And again, he says, because there's imminent danger of the homeland. So once again, this is how the Uniparty gets you to support your slavery. They make you fear that, World War III is coming and we're going to need these warrantless spying tools so we can stop the enemy. No, what they want to do is stop you, because you are the new enemy. And I don't care what they are, a Democrat or Republican, they're all the same shit. We've already discussed this in the Uniparty spending bill video and all that. This is how they get you to support your own slavery. And they're going to turn these tools that they tell you is for everybody else, it's for the enemy, they're going to turn them on you. So that's where we're headed. And as far as the timeline goes, my timeline is still probably next winter towards the elections and stuff like that. I've seen not too many people have made this connection, but it's something I've been saying for a while. I've seen a few people say stuff, but, people think it's coming next week or next month. It could, but I don't think so. And the reason I think that is because I think people are going to hold out for the Olympics. And you might be saying, like, if they want World War III, why would they care? They're not going to hold out for the Olympics. Well, it's been a tradition that, a lot of countries sharpen their act up around Olympic time because they want to be a part of it. It's actually a big deal. Whether or not you like it or not, or you don't like sports or whatnot, it's a pretty big deal. And these countries, they get sanctions on them, and I forget what they did last time. They said maybe Russia couldn't play their national anthem, or, they don't allow a certain amount of athletes to show up. But, these countries want to be a part of this, and they want to be a part of the Olympics. So they, like I said, they sharpen their act up so they can get in. And then after it, there's always some kind of event, because they're like, okay, it's over with. We'll deal in the next 4 years when the next Olympics comes up. Until then, whatever, we're going to make our move on our country that we want to take over or whatever. So expect that. I expect nothing to really go down until the Olympics. And they've even said that they might not even be able to hold the Olympics. That's a whole nother conversation. But I see it more happening towards the winter when election season happens. Maybe Biden's going to pull we can't even have elections because, he's going to declare some War Powers Act thing and say, we're too close to, the end to be able to switch leadership and all this stuff. And I'm a wartime president. And I've got to, take America through this next, time period. Something like that. So expect that to come. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll catch you on the next one. But you know what I always say? We are on our own. No one's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.